Shattered reflections. The asylum loomed before me, its weathered facade a testament to the years it had stood as a silent witness to madness. The iron gates screeched as they swung open, allowing me entry into the world of shadows and echoes. I was here, not as a patient, but as an investigative journalist seeking to uncover the mysteries that whispered through the crumbling walls. The air inside was thick with an unsettling stillness. The dim lighting barely penetrated the oppressive darkness that clung to the asylum's long, narrow corridors. A shiver traced the length of my spine as I stepped through the entrance, the echoes of my footsteps swallowed by the suffocating silence. I had chosen the night to explore, the asylum's history laden with tales of haunting occurrences after dark. The moonlight filtered through the cracked windows, casting an eerie glow on the peeling wallpaper and cracked floor tiles. The asylum seemed frozen in time, a decaying relic of forgotten memories. As I delved deeper, I felt the weight of unseen eyes upon me. The portraits of former staff members lining the walls bore witness to the twisted tales that unfolded within these walls. Their eyes seemed to follow my every move, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the asylum itself was alive, breathing in the stories of the tormented souls it once housed. I reached the patient's ward, the doors creaking open with a reluctant groan. The rooms, now devoid of life, echoed with the ghosts of anguished cries that had long faded into the recesses of the building. One room drew me in, room 13. Its door, slightly ajar, beckoned me like a gateway to the asylum's darkest secrets. As I stepped inside, the air grew colder, and an indescribable heaviness settled in my chest. The room seemed frozen in time, a macabre shrine to the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. Tattered curtains danced in the ghostly breeze, and the flickering light bulb cast distorted shadows that writhed on the cracked walls. I noticed an old, rusty wheelchair in the corner, its leather straps worn and frayed. The room's sole piece of furniture stood as a chilling reminder of the restraint and despair that once gripped its occupants. The silence was shattered by the sound of a distant, echoing scream, a phantom cry that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the asylum itself. As I continued my exploration, the building seemed to come alive with the echoes of its tormented past. Whispers fluttered through the corridors, the fragmented memories of those who had long since departed. I heard the shuffle of phantom footsteps and the soft sobbing of invisible souls. In the asylum's bowels, I discovered an old records room. The shelves were lined with dusty folders containing the names and histories of the forgotten inhabitants. The flickering candle I carried revealed stories of despair, misdiagnosis, and cruel treatments that bordered on sadistic. One file, in particular, caught my eye: patient 237, Emily Harper. The yellowed pages detailed a tragic tale of a young woman committed against her will, her pleas for release drowned out by the asylum's indifferent bureaucracy. The final entry spoke of her sudden disappearance, her fate unknown to the staff. Driven by an inexplicable force, I found myself retracing the steps of patient 237. The air grew colder with each step, and the darkness seemed to close in around me. I reached the solitary confinement area, where the most troubled minds had been isolated from the rest. A single cell door stood ajar, a whisper of freedom for the one who had once occupied it. The room inside was void of life, but the walls bore the remnants of scribbles, cryptic messages, and haunting drawings that spoke of a descent into madness. As I turned to leave, a figure manifested in the doorway, a spectral presence cloaked in a tattered hospital gown. The hollow eyes of Emily Harper fixed upon me, her ghostly form suspended between this world and the next. She reached out, a silent plea etched on her translucent face. The asylum's shadows recoiled as Emily's presence intensified. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, and the building itself seemed to groan under the weight of its tragic history. Emily's voice, though soundless, echoed in my mind, imploring me to uncover the truth of her disappearance. Driven by a sense of duty, or perhaps something more profound, I continued my exploration. The asylum's corridors became a labyrinth, twisting and turning as if rearranging themselves to deter my progress. The oppressive silence hung in the air like a suffocating fog, broken only by the echo of my footsteps. I stumbled upon the administration office, its doors hanging askew on rusted hinges. Amidst the wreckage, I found a filing cabinet marked Incident Reports. The dusty folders revealed a series of unexplained events, mysterious deaths, strange sightings, and accounts of paranormal activity that had plagued the asylum for decades. One incident report stood out: Night of Shadows, March 13, 1978. It described a night when the asylum was consumed by an otherworldly darkness, shadows that moved with a malevolent intent. Patients and staff reported visions of twisted figures and heard voices that echoed from unseen depths. As I read, the room darkened and the temperature plummeted. The shadows gathered in the corners, coalescing into indistinct forms that seemed to watch me with an otherworldly hunger. A chilling wind whispered through the shattered windows, carrying the anguished cries of the asylum's tormented souls. I felt a presence behind me, an ethereal force that hovered at the edge of my perception. Emily's apparition materialized, her eyes pleading for justice. The Night of Shadows, it seemed, held the key to unraveling the asylum's malevolent mysteries. Guided by an unseen force, I ventured into the heart of the asylum, a forgotten chamber hidden beneath layers of decay. The air grew colder, and the flickering candle in my hand cast dancing shadows that writhed on the walls. The room seemed to pulse with a spectral energy, as if the asylum itself awaited the reckoning that had long been denied. In the center of the chamber stood an old phonograph, its needle poised above a dusty record. The shadows gathered, forming a tapestry of tormented faces that flickered in and out of existence. The air hummed with an unsettling resonance, and the ghostly figures seemed to beckon me toward the phonograph. As I lowered the needle, a haunting melody filled the chamber. The record played the echoes of the asylum's tormented past, the cries of the unjustly confined, the whispers of those who had been silenced, and the mournful wails of the forgotten. The room pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and the shadows danced in a macabre ballet. In the midst of the spectral symphony, Emily's apparition appeared once more. Her eyes held a glimmer of gratitude, a silent acknowledgement of the justice that the haunting melody sought to bring. The shadows began to recede, their malevolent forms dissipating like fog in the morning sunday. As the record reached its final notes, the asylum seemed to exhale a collective sigh. The oppressive darkness that had clung to its corridors lifted, and the haunted echoes faded into a spectral silence. The once dreaded asylum now stood in quiet repose, its tragic history laid bare by the eerie melody that had unraveled its veiled mysteries. I emerged from the depths of the asylum, the first light of dawn casting a pale glow on the worn exterior. The iron gates groaned as they swung open, releasing me from the clutches of the haunted institution. Emily's spectral form lingered at the threshold, a silent farewell etched on her translucent face. As I stepped into the cool morning air, the asylum's tormented past remained etched in my memory.